Hey guys, today we will be watching a little bit of a mirror match. And when I say mirror match, it only means that we are looking at players who are playing the same faction, which are the Gauls. Well, mirror match not technically mean, it doesn't mean mirror strategies because this is alpha. That means strategies can change within a faction and there is no one standard what do you call standard strategy for each faction. Yeah, these two players are playing Gauls, by the way. Let's introduce you to our players first. The purple one, the purple Gauls will be Defender Benny, and the red ones will be Feldfeld. So that's what we'll be looking. Oh yeah, back to my main point. A, alpha mode, strategies can happen. B, I think those 2 points were addressed, but the second point will be play styles. Players just have different play styles. So one can be aggressive, one can be defensive, one likes rush, one likes booming. And so strategies may not be as mirror as we think they are. So that's it. And of course, we've been seeing a lot of rushes recently, and I think the Gauls are not as effective in village phase rushing, at least because of their javelin throwing horsemen. And if you want to a real rushing faction, you might go with Macedonians or Romans. Why? Because they're the ones with the lancers, the spear cavalry, and they're the most deadly rushers there is, or any faction that has melee cavalry. When it comes to archer cavalry or javelin throwing cavalry, they're not as effective because javelins just are not accurate enough. You can. It's even my argument of why melee cavalry are more effective at hunting than ranged cavalry because of accuracy. Sometimes even 4 horsemen hitting 5 times a single creature can hardly do anything or can't hit it immediately. At least these available access food, they're not aggressive, although but to me they look aggressive, just like the boar, the bear, the lion. But in this situation, they're the most passive kind of creatures. They're just like chickens, easy to slaughter, easy to stab. And you can see here that their death positions are not yet programmed into the game because the developers need help. That's why it's still in alpha. So we'll be looking at people stabbing at stuffed animals or something, and a rush-oriented strategy. And of course, just like I said, they're not as effective in rushing because of accuracy of their javelins. I mean, that's just it. And who's our aggressor? Feldfeld. Feldfeld is seeking to get that early advantage of disrupted enemy economy while gaining some loot and matching their own power. And of course, we know the drill. If you can't take care of your base while rushing, you're not doing it right. And by the looks of things, I think Feldfeld is doing quite decently, although he's being dragged out by the backup cavalry that just happens to be in here. And what's this? Okay, we're in town phase. When you're in village phase, they got it quite fast because of 1.25 speed. Okay. Well, that's fine. Here we have a little bit of a counter raid or counter rush. No, I think it's just that, of course, when you have failed in your rush and you have your cavalrymen taken down, it's actually a valid thought that maybe he has no defense. And correctly enough, Defender Benny is using or has read the situation correctly, that he has no cavalry, no fast moving defenders, so that every woman will be relatively helpless, and at least there will be some form of backup here, although these guys are still more numerous than his enemy defender here. And we got some cavalry dancing. with each other. Just look at that.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, so while they get back to their starting positions, that's how we do. And
yeah, see?
yeah, Feldfeld does not seem to be interested in a cavalry rush continuation now, since yeah, he seems to be out of wood also. Yeah, he's out of wood, no cavalry, and when we see this, it's kind of an odd arrangement because of this metal mining. Usually when you're town phase, just to get to city phase, well, it's because of this.
Yeah, see?
The Gauls have what is called the Naked Fanatic Rush. Naked Fanatic Rush, we can see how fast this guy moves. That's why they by the way, they cost wood and metal. They don't cost food. So they're relatively cheap. Anti-cavalry units, so that's anti-rush strategy against our
Yeah, see?
Gallic friend here, and also they're
Yeah, see?
not to mention they're not as well defended as some champion units, but these guys are a threat to the women.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a rated PG, why they can be raised from the tavern. Yeah, even the women, right? Okay. But the Naked Fanatic Rush, since they are anti-cavalry units, that means these guys, not to mention they're champions, that means their damage, they're dealing with much more damage, stronger than our typical spearmen, although not as defended because they are naked after all. You can actually find it odd that they cannot actually do this in winter time. But that's the map. Gameplay wise, temperature doesn't affect anybody, and I think somebody's getting. Feldfeld is not using the Naked Fanatic Rush, and Defender Benny is using that rush. So we can have a little bit of a non-mirror strategy already, and not to mention that Defender Benny has teched up to town phase first. That's why he's unable to do that rush, because the tavern can only be accessed through the town phase, and because of this, a lot of women are being killed, being grown. You kind of a little bit of advantage or downside to these guys is that they are not. Yeah, I think I mentioned that they are not heavily armored, but they can make up for their very fast walk speed, and not to mention there are even more backups right here, and Feldfeld seems to be trying or having a little bit of difficulty trying to stave these guys off and having enough backup. He has no cavalry left, and only defenders are in here, while Defender Ben is still trying to train those guys, which only cost wood and metal, so that means he's going kind of. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I didn't see it. Man, just look at this economic damage that's being dealt here. Yes, one risk of rushing is that your base is kind of undefended itself, although you have some cavalrymen trying ready to defend whenever that's possible, and keeping watch of your enemy's base. It's going to happen, and I think he's going to counterattack now. It's either this a counterattack or a desperate measure, an act of desperation, because he's already out of economic units. That's what it looks like, right? Let's just look at Feldfeld's base, 4772, and half of his population is already run out, and I think this is almost all of 20, 44. No, he still has a lot of. Where are they? I don't know. But this is going to be, of course, Feldfeld knows that because of that rush, he has a feeling that this base is not well defended, but he could be wrong, and these guys are also ready to defend because they are fast, nearly as fast as the cavalry, I think. How fast? Speed, 16 walk speed. These guys, 18. Well, cavalry is still faster, but they pack a punch, and so that was Feldfeld's last army. He made the last desperate one-ditch attempt, and failed, and he saw that he can't actually do anything, especially from that naked Fanatic rush which we were introduced. And so let's just discuss the naked Fanatic rush. So for whatever reason, Defender Benny has tech up to town phase quite fast with his fast population booming wood, food, and food, because the animals are quite accessible. We can see that he's been gathering meat for that, and he had enough cavalry to defend who's this guy, Feldfeld's cavalry rush, and he managed to build enough for the tavern. And I think the tavern only cost stone, because earlier we saw stone gatherers right here. And where are those? Yeah, here we are. Can be built by men. Yeah, it cost a little bit of wood, and then he went full wood and metal just for this, risking his base relatively undefended for the sake of a very strong attack, which actually succeeded. So we were introduced with a naked Fanatic rush by Defender Benny. And if you look at the 0 AD forums, this was actually posted by Feldfeld. So I think even in the previous game where he lost, he also posted it. He likes posting games even though he loses. Just as long as it's interesting, it addresses a point, he will post it. So kudos to you still. Okay, so there we have it. Defender Benny, a strong player, schooling Feldfeld for the naked Fanatic rush. And if you guys like the strategy, maybe you can incorporate it. Do a fast boom and then tavern already, and bam, attack, attack, attack. Keep attacking with your fast naked Fanatics. So that's the game. I hope to see you guys next time. I think we are over 20 subscribers. And bye-bye.